Alright, what's going on, guys? So I got another little fun project, just, a skill builder for me. But what I wanted to do, well, first off, let me preface this. The small hammer I've been using to adjust things is this cute little hammer that I have. I just picked up at like a thrift store or something. But I wanted to make a small hammer to use to when I'm setting stuff up in the chuck, something I just lightly tap with, nothing to hit crazy hard with, just to make small adjustments that was a little bit nicer than some other things. But anyways, this will be a great turning project. Maybe I can even do some stuff in the mill. I'm waiting to get some collets for it. But what I wanted to do, I did a basic drawing of the handle shape. It's actually going to be pretty big for what it is, but that's all right. So I got some 4140 that I wanted to turn the body out of. It's basically going to be a 5-inch long handle. I did some dimensions on here. That's going to be knurled because I can do that. I haven't decided on the bottom here if I want just a 45 on there. Maybe I want it rounded. I'm leaning towards a 45 just because I think that'll turn out better than trying to do a radius tool on there. But I am going to do a radius up here. My idea is if I choke up on the handle here, it's a place for my index finger to sit, and I can hold on to it pretty good there. I wanted to do a taper, and I had to think back to high school math class and calculate that angle to set the compound up at. And then I'm going to make a shoulder here. The head will sit on, and then this is the head. So it's just going to be a cylinder, and then I'm going to drill a through hole, and then I could thread these on. I'm going to use this piece of brass here to make the bases for it. But I'm just going to put set screws in there just because it's super easy, and it makes my life easier. Plus, if I ever want to replace them, I don't have to set the lathe up and machine them or do anything like that. So yeah, that's just simple, not the prettiest thing in the world, but it'll work. And then up here where it's going to attach to the head, the diameter is going to be the major diameter of a 1/2-20 thread. And then I got this hex stock that we'll make a nut out of. It'll just be a retaining nut. And then I have some cold glue. We'll cold glue this just to give it a little bit more durability, because I plan on using it. Yeah, so let's get started with this. I'll set up in the lathe. We'll start by facing an end, and yeah, we'll get a center in it and we'll start turning. See you guys at the lathe. So something I want to go over that you might actually find interesting before I start turning on this thing is I wanted to go over all the oiling points on it. So this headstock is not completely filled with oil, but what you're supposed to do is down here fill this guy completely up with oil. Now this machine holds several gallons of oil. So what I've been doing is I work at an auto parts store, so every time I buy parts for myself, I'll get a couple quarts of 30 weight oil, which is not what you're supposed to use in this machine, but it's fine, it works good, and that's all I'm going for. It's just functionality. You can use spindle oil, which is the right thing to do, but I mean, this thing's fine. So you're basically supposed to fill it up to here, so I just dump a couple in every time I get parts for myself. This cover comes off. There's a couple gears in here you're supposed to put oil on. There's these oil caps. It's like a little game trying to find these things. There's one missing here. That goes onto these, if you can see them. Yeah, those gears right there. Just drips down on them. There's actually a little reservoir here that you put oil in, and then there's little channels and the actual casting, and it drips down onto there. The carriage has its own oil. I just check it, make sure it's good. There's oil ports on the tailstock. There's it's not really an oil port, but we're supposed to fill this felt thing with some oil down here. I'm sure I'm missing some. Yeah, just use common sense. I usually, the lead screw, I'll put some oil on this when I start it, and then always put some oil on the ways. So just thought I'd think that is, that's interesting. Alright, so I got this thing in the chuck, but hopefully you guys can see that I am getting less than a thou of run out on just this raw stock. Now, in case any of you don't know, see, that's 0. How much a thousandth is? Here's some notebook paper. It's 1, 0. If I can see what I'm doing. 1. So this super thin paper is a thou, and that's how much run out I have on my part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out that tool, face this, swap this out, put my big my chuck in there. We will center drill it and get our center in there. So you guys can watch me do that. Alright guys, let's get this shit on the road and we throw the phase converter on. Alright, now let's see what speed I'm in. Out. So I'm going to pretty good. Alright, so let's get this spun around. We will see how our center height is. I can already tell I have to drop it a little bit. Just going to eyeball it for now. Nothing super critical. I just want a somewhat flat surface to get my center drill in. start feeding it in. Maybe if I can do that. There you go. You see a little bit better. Maybe if I do. Boom. Now you can really see. Alright, so let me ease her on in there. Now we don't really need much. Something else, I don't have a key for this chuck, so I can only tighten it really by hand, so I think it's sliding a little bit in there. This is a number 36 Jacobs chuck. It's a really old chuck. Actually, this was a eBay score. eBay is a great place to find a bunch of machine tools. But yeah, it just you know, it looked like an old chuck that, you know, wasn't in bad condition, it's been used, and that's what I was looking for. I just needed something functional. One of these days when we get a 20N, I think that'd be awesome just to have the really big Jacobs chuck. Yeah, so I'm just going to hand feed this in there until it kind of touches, and I'm sure this is painful for some of you. But I want to get the way that taper's cut on the center drill. I want to get some of that in there, so that live center has something to get some, I guess, purchase onto. Clear out the chips, get on in there. Alright, so I'm going to call that good. Let's see what we got. Yeah, actually that turns out better on camera. You guys see it better than me. So yeah, so let me move this thing down in the chuck and get the live center in there. Let me, yeah, here's my trusty number 36. Let me get out for you. I'll show you that some more. Now I got a Morris Taper MT4 tailstock. I actually think it was meant to be MT5, but it looks like they actually welded. They either had to repair it or they just welded in a adapter. But yeah, this is my number. This is Jacobs number 36. It's actually in pretty decent. There's a ton of oil on it. I actually can't get it. Anyways, it moves really free. I'll have to crack this thing, but yeah, it's just a good chuck. It should have the capacity 3/16 to 3/4. So she said do some pretty. The 20N goes up to 1 inch. So yeah, there you go. Alright, since everyone likes seeing the indicated, I got a little some junk on it right there, but we're getting about it out again, so I feel happy with that. So let's pop this guy out of the way. So let me zoom you on out here. So I did some basic sketching. So radius is going to be our handle. There's going to be our radius in there. Here's our 2-inch taper. I don't have a taper attachment, but we'll be able to set that, and the stroke of the compound will be able to get me to where I want to be. I got a basic roughing tool in here. Eventually, by the time we finish this, I want to grind a shear tool to try to get a better finish out of this stuff. and then this will be our shoulder for the head to sit on, and then this will be the shank for that goes through the head. So yeah, I also got this magnetic back indicator on the slide here. This is a direct read lathe, so 10 thousandths on the actual hand wheel is 10 thousandths on here, so we'll take total diameter of 20 thousandths off 10 thou per side as this is turning. So right now it's right above an inch. We're shooting for 875. So since we're just doing rough measurements, I can actually measure it with my calipers here. So we're at 163. So I'll do a couple 10 thou passes and we'll start roughing it in, and then we can start playing with micrometers and other fun stuff I'm not qualified to tell you about. So let's go ahead. We're going to be spinning about, what do I have it set on here? About 150 RPM. That's another thing we can do. I got a digital tachometer for this thing, so we can see actually what the lathe is turning. This does have a different motor than what it shipped with. And I don't know what the original RPM of the motor was, so we can take a look at that. Yeah, so let me get touched off here, and we will start cutting. Alright guys, welcome back to the fun. We are going to touch off here at the end, if I can get my indicator straight. Sit. I'm adjusting, I don't know if you can actually see it in frame, but I'm adjusting my indicator down here on the compound. So let's get touched off here. My center height looks pretty good. So I will feed her in till we touch. Alright, so we are officially touched. So I'm going to feed in 10. Another lovely noise. Alright, let's see what the hell this thing does. I'm feeding it pretty slow. Seems to be doing a decent chip here. Let me put some oil on it. That seemed to help the situation out pretty good. So we're just going to run this thing down and get it turned down a little bit. I won't make you watch the whole thing. I'll bring you in so we can see some surface finishing. Yeah, she's in there cutting pretty good. So we're taking 10 thou off per side, 20 thou total, and yeah, I'll get back to you guys. Alright, so it's hard to focus on this, but we just took our first 10 thou pass. It actually feels pretty good, in my unqualified opinion. So I'm going to try taking 15 thou and see if I can get some better chip breakage off of my my tool here. So yeah. So this is a 15 thou pass, and you can already see how much better the surface finish is. It's not really breaking the chips that well, but it's doing all right. I don't necessarily like that. I think it's more of my tool grind than anything, but my finish is looking pretty freaking good. All right. So for this tool in particular, it looks like 5 thou indicated, so 10 thou total is the sweet spot for the chip breaker. So I'm doing a light pass. I'm trying to get this roughly under an inch so I can start using my inch micrometers. And yeah. So I believe this is probably the best finish, it'll focus, I've been able to achieve on this lathe yet with the tool I ground. I don't have any carbide tooling to use. But this is doing pretty good. For a rough, I'm probably making you sick, and it's blurry. Let's get on in here and see where we're at, roughly. Alright, so we're under an inch, so I can start using my inch micrometers. And working down to the 875 outside diameter. Yeah. I'm gonna call it for tonight with this because it's super late. We will get back on this and we will turn it to final diameter and start putting in our features. This is pretty hot, so I definitely want it to cool. But yeah, we're starting to get to know our roughing tool. Alright guys, so since you guys last saw this, it's the next day. It's now raining, and I did a couple more passes on this, and our target is 875, and you can see we're within, I'm using my Fowler 0 to 1, we're within 4 thousandths, so I'm pretty much there. What I want to do is I want to use I've been using this roughing tool, but I want to switch over and experiment with a more radius nose tool to try to get a nicer finish on it, and then we'll start putting in our features and doing our taper on here, and let's get going. Alright guys, so this is the tool I'm going to try. You can see it just has that slight radius there, no chip breaker, so we're going to get a lot of stringy chips. But we'll see how this does. I haven't used this before, but we don't have much to go into this, and I just want to give it a try. Alright you guys, so I got you brought in real close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and you can see we're already off our indicator. I wanted to show you this, what I'm doing down here with this indicator. So all I'm doing is coming in here, and I want to touch off on the part just until I see we're actually touching here. Ever so slightly sneak up to it. Alright, so we're touching. So I'm going to come in here, give myself a little bit of room. So I'm going to walk out my axis, and then I want to zero this. So we are not taking much off. Like I showed just now, we're only going to be taking off, really shooting for 4th thou. This isn't really critical, I'm just trying to hit my numbers. So to do that, we need to take off 2 per side. So I'm going to come in here and ever so slightly eyeball 2. Okay, so our axis is locked, and we're going to start feeding. I have it on the slowest feed setting that I have. And let me zoom back out. Alright, let's see what the hell this thing does. I have no idea how it's going to cut. Huh, the chip's actually not that bad. It seems to be leaving a good surface finish. So let me pop you guys off the stand here. That's what I'm looking at. That actually looks pretty freaking good. I'm surprised. So I'll run this thing all the way down and I'll bring you back. Alright guys, so you are not gonna believe it, but I hit 8750 exactly. I have to do this one hand, but it is, I mean, it's perfect. I am ecstatic. So I'm going to take some high grit sandpaper and hit this real quick, give it a little bit of more of a polish, then we will start marking it out. We got a couple pieces of 400 right here. Just gonna work this back and forth and give it a good polish. Nothing too crazy because you know, it's just a hammer, but yeah, I want it to look good. Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. You can already start to see that clean up good. So I won't bore you with this, and we'll come back and start marking it. Alright, so hopefully you guys will stay in focus this whole time. So what I'm going to do is, this isn't super critical, this is just something to, if I can get some, there we go, some wool to come out. I am putting a radius on the end of this thing, and I've not always had good luck with this tool, even though I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. So we're just going to feed this in here and try to make something of it. Going super slow. This is going to take a while. I'm just going slow, trying to not destroy the tool or do anything dumb. So I'll bring you guys back when I'm doing a little bit more. Alright guys, so we're roughly getting to the end of our little chamfer radius feature here, and our radius tool. Nothing of this is really critical. I gave myself about a ½ inch of room in the measurement to put something on the end here. And I just want it beveled just so it gets dinged up or beat up. It's not like a sharp edge that'll roll over or be immediately noticeable. Plus I wanted to use a form tool and get used to the process. Oil on there. So I think after this what I'll do is I'll put my I'm putting basically I'm using a thread cutting 60-degree tool and basically putting in I guess horizontal, whatever, they're just like little accent lines between this feature, the knurling, and then the end of it. So that's kind of almost like a layout line in the handle itself. We'll get those on there, and then the last thing I want to do tonight, I think, is cut the taper and set the compound up for that, which should be a little fun, interesting thing. Alright guys, look at you zoom. Okay, so I laid out some lines. So these two lines are going to be what we cut with this 60-degree threading tool, and then this line here, it's on the other. Let me grab this tool out of here. Pleasure. Maybe it's on there. I got another form tool here. We're just going to use this radius tool and put in a radius, and yeah, that's all there really is to it. Might have to adjust the tool a little bit. Anyways, we're gonna put a radius in here, and then this whole area here will be knurled. So let's do that real quick. There we go. Alright. So I will come in here and I want to touch off so I can zero my indicator. Alright, so we're touching, and I'm setting my indicator, you can't see that. I want to feed in, let's do 10. Let's see how 10 looks. Really doing much. I'm gonna try lowering the tool height here. That'll help us a bit. Alright, let's try it again. Oh yeah. Alright, so let's do we're touching. 4. There's no real rhyme or reason to this. I'm just feeding it in until I like it. Alright, so that looks pretty good. So I'm not exactly sure how far that is, so let me over here to this surface. So that was 65 thou. So we will feed in over here 65 as well. Alright guys, so I got the, whoops, let's not beat the hell out of that thing. So I got my 3 grooves in here that I wanted, all equal depth. So now what I want to do is I got my form tool set up here. I want to put the groove in there, and all I wanted to do is basically the groove that's grounded here. I'm not sure what radius it actually is. I have a set of radius gauges that I guess I could figure out what it is, but that looks good to me. These grooves here basically just define features. So I'm going to knurl it here. There'll be a groove here, so when you're hitting something, your index finger can sit in there. And then this defines our taper. So let me go ahead and see what the hell this tool wants to do when it starts cutting. So go real slow, use plenty of oil. On there. And let's see if I immediately break the tool or not. There's going to be a lot of cutting force on this. So far so good. It's going to be a long, boring process. So I'll bring you back once I get something actually cut into it. Feel like I'm happy with that. Yeah, that feels great. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is knurl this. Alright, so let me preface this by I've never had good luck with knurling. So let me double check everything is tight. So all we're going to do is I'm going to feed it in until I think it looks good, and then I'm going to let this thing feed. So I gotta flip my tool post around because it hits the my center. Alright, so long story short, don't ever try this at home. Okay, so let me be in here. We'll triple check that everything is tight. Okay. Room run all the way down here. Alright. Let's see what the hell happens. Well, we're doing something to it. So I'll just let that feed down, and it'll be what it's going to be, I guess. From here, it actually doesn't look that bad. So we'll just take it slow, and then we'll take a look at it after she's done. Let me see if I can. Yeah. All right, I'll check back with you guys. All right, guys. So I'm actually gonna say I'm happy with that. So our next feature is, I can move this. I want to cut in this taper. It's 2 inches long, and that's our angle to set the compound at 3.576. So let's go do that. Alright, so I got the compound swiveled over. What I'm actually going to be doing is I'll be back here using the stroke of the compound to actually do the taper, but hopefully you can see maybe if it'll focus. Yeah, okay, so I got it roughly 3.5 degrees. I got eyeball marked out how far I want to go. These are non-critical dimensions. It's just a hammer handle. And then you can see the tool I'm using. We'll see how aggressive the cut gets at the end. I might have to make a couple passes. But until then, let's get cutting. Alright, let's oh, you guys will have a better view of this than I will. So we're going to come in here and touch off. Alright. So, up. Okay. Alright, we're going to keep doing this. Let me a little bit. Alright. Sorry for that. Alright, let's start putting it in. I'm just hand feeding this. Alright, I won't make you guys watch through all this, but I'll pick it up right when we get to the end. guys, so we're getting just the last little bit of the taper here. This is the heaviest part of the cut. To be honest, I'm not entirely exactly sure how deep it's cutting right now. It seems to be holding up just fine. You can see it's a very slight taper. This is more of just getting experience on actually cutting the taper than actually anything with it. Alright, so it looks like from there. So I'm just going to run this thing back slowly and make sure, try to get some of the high spots and full marks out of it that I didn't get before, just a little spring pass backwards. And we'll start on the last feature. Alright guys, so what I did here was, this is going to end up being a shoulder, but what I did is I ended up coming in here with, I don't even know what you call that tool. Anyways, I just gave myself some clearance to get the tool in here. The tool I have in the tool post here. I can't tell if you can see it. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this down to 1/2 inch for a 1/20 thread die, and then we'll part it off, and the handle will be done. So I'll get back to you. This is down to size. Alright guys, so it'll focus. It actually turned out really good. I'm happy with that. I got this down to 1/2 inch, the major diameter for my 1/20. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and part this off, and I'll meet you guys over. Now I'm not going to thread this in the lathe. I'm going to cheat and use a thread die. So I'll meet you over at my bench vise. Alright guys, so I got this parted off. We are in the home stretch here. I'm going to take my thread die, go ahead and start threading threads. I'll get this thing started. Come on. There's a burr on here. Alright, round 2. Like it wants to go. God, it feels like it's so close. Alright, let me figure this out. Alright guys, so last you saw I was trying to run that thread die on there, and I went ahead and cheated a little bit because I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but what I ended up doing was chucking this up in the lathe and then just threading it on there. My cheap thread dies for whatever reason, weren't really working very well. This is definitely a machinist fit. It's actually a little tight, but it does turn. It's on there really good. There's no play at all, and it's actually kind of hard to turn by hand. But it does thread all the way down, all the way off, and I actually prefer it being a little tight, just so you have a little bit more mechanical grip there holding it. So I got our stock in there that'll end up being the actual hammer head itself that the brass will attach to. And I want to turn this to 1 inch. So we got about 1/4 inch to come off of this. There's really not much to come off. So I'll go ahead and turn this down to size, face it and bore it, and then I'll catch back up with you. Go ahead and loosen the tailstock up. I think we're just going to have to go ahead and mark a line on this bit where I want to stop. So we're just going to run her on in there. I don't have a damn chuck seat. Alright. Tighten down the tailstock here. you guys back when I make some progress. Okay, so the last you guys probably saw was me destroying my part off tool here. Let's see, wrong side. So I think altogether I was just going too slow, because what I ended up doing was just doubling my speed, and it cut just fine. I had no issues with it. So right now I got the brass in here, all centered up in these little aluminum soft jaw scrap that I had on there. So we'll go ahead and turn these down, turn in our steps, and then we will get to milling this stuff. Alright guys, so I skipped showing you a few steps, mostly because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. There we go. So I turned this outside diameter down, and then, so this is for the drawing. This is what we were going for. So what we're going to end up doing is using my part off tool, and this will be one face, and then this will be one face. So we'll go ahead and part these two off, and then we should have two faces. We'll go ahead and part the other one off. Alright guys, so it's been about a week since I was last working on this project, and to be honest with you, I kind of forget where we even left off, but what I was working with was, this is a strange vise. LW Chuck, I've seen a couple of these come up before. They went out of business from what I can tell, when I bought this it didn't have vice jaws, and I got a really good deal on it, but and plus I just need to get time using this machine and getting used to it. But I made these vice jaws, and then lapped the faces just with some lapping compound, just to make them a little bit smoother and knock down any high spots. Because I don't have any really good precision ground stones. I have a bunch of bench stones, but not, I wouldn't call them precision ground. I also put a huge light up there, so the light seems to be better than using these things up here. But yeah, so I got the setup. What we're going to do is we're just going to use a 1/2-inch drill bit. This isn't a collet. I have something special on the way to solve this issue and not use collets. I'm pretty excited about. Hopefully it'll be here today and I can include it in the video. So what we're going to do is we're just going to punch a hole through there, because that's where it's going to sit on my handle here. And then I'm going to use we're going to use just these 1/4-20 bolts as a they're just going to go in here and be a set screw. They're going to be kind of the ugliest part of this whole thing, but I really want it to be functional, so I'm just going to use these 1/4-20 bolts because they're easy and they make my life simple. And these brass ends kind of have a press fit, because I machined them right on, and any high spots from tool marks I think are just holding it in there. So I'm not going to try to take them out and try to mess these up. So we're just going to put our holes in there, and then we should be good to go. And then I can put it together, and then I want to cold blow it, so we can do that too. Alright, so we are centered up here as confidently as I think I can be, and we'll see how she goes. This is one of the, I have a Hansen set of drill bits. They're pretty good on everything. I'm on the 660 RPM setting of my mill, and I actually don't have any slow speed settings because the timing belt is messed up. So that'll probably be my my next actual video, is fixing the timing belt on this thing. So we broke through my center bore. We'll put some oil down there, see if that helps our cause at all. Seems to have helped a bit. I don't entirely see what the hell I'm doing. Alright, let me able to tell, but we in fact do have a hole. Alright, so while I'm set up, I will swap out my bit so I can drill our set screws. Alright guys, if I can get the camera stop shaking. Let's go for round 2. So I got my, we're gonna have to go pretty far, which I'm not entirely happy about. Because my bolts were longer than I guess I really expected. So I got my, I have a stop set. I'm going a tiny bit past the bottom of the bolt because I don't have a an actual bottom tab. You can see I'm already into the brass. So, alright, let me run this over to the next side. I'm happy with that. And the brass again. This stuff is super soft. Alright, I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and tap this. It's kind of boring, I won't make you guys watch that. And yeah, cool. Here's some tapping action for you. You try to keep some oil on this thing. I do have a tap wrench, but it's not a very good one. I think I'm gonna have to make one these days. Putting a pretty hard stop there. I might be at the bottom. Yeah, I didn't think I'd get the bottom. Alright, well, some oil in there. Trying to get started straight. There we go. Hand in the way. This kind of is. We're gonna do all this one-handed. Man, aren't you guys glad I brought you along for this? All kinds of just cool stuff. I'm just waiting to break a tap. Oh, That's scaring me. Oh, so God damn it. Well, this is about to get fun. On the bright side, my bolt does kind of thread in. So let me see if I can figure a way to get that out. Alright, so now since we're all in on the fun, I got an 1/8 inch end mill in here. We are going to see if we can get this thing to come out. I don't know if this will even work. It's probably going to break more tools. So yeah, I guess let's have some fun with this. See what the hell happens. What actually is happening? And there goes my end mill. Great. Just great. Alright, now, survey says, did we accomplish anything? It's hard to tell. Let me say, not really. I guess. I don't know that I have any easy outs. Let me look. Alright, so now that we're all in this together, what we're going to do is, I got the set screw in there, and we're just going to mill it off and make it look like the other side. I might even put a little flat there too. So let's go, let's mangle this thing. We got a 3/8 end mill in there. Go ahead and cable up. And I have no idea how it's going to cut this. Fellas. Alright, well. glasses on here. Alright, seems to have cut that pretty well. So I'll knock these down flat and then I'll show you what I came up with. Alright guys, here we go. This is the broken tap. That is the sign of the actual set screw bolt. You can see I goofed a little bit there. That's alright. So, our handle here. Fits. Yeah. Alright. Fits in there good. Alright, let me put the nut on here and get back to you. Alright guys, so there's our hammer. I think what I'm going to do next is cold blue it. That'll be all she wrote. Alright guys, so went ahead and blued it up. I used some steel wool. I used the Hops Super Blue. Actually, let me grab it. Stuff. Not Hops. Hops is the oil I put on it. Anyways, yeah. So I couldn't be happier with it. I'm not sure how durable this finish is going to be. I really don't use and abuse my guns, and this is just a cold blue, not a hot blue. But yeah, first project done. So I'm pretty happy. We did some milling on this, some threading, cut a taper, used some form tools on it, knurled it, and yeah, this was just pretty much a good skill builder. So now I have a hammer to set stuff in the vise, and it's worked out good. I cut this groove so I could fit my index finger in here good and choke up on the thing, and then the handle's long enough that I can really get some put some English on it if I want to. So there you go guys. So I hope you enjoyed it, and catch you in the next one. Alright guys, so before we get too far into the video where I make this thing, I said at one point that I was going to show you guys. I was holding the drill bit I was using in these collets here, and I promised you I was going to show you that I was going to get a better solution, and I did. So it's not this guy. This is to Morse 2 taper, which I actually don't have anything that takes this, but I have an adapter to go to a R8 taper for the Bridgeport. And we got my number 36 MP4 that goes for the Springfield, which is a good size. I think it goes up to 3/4. Hold on, of course I get it stuck in there good. Let's see. It should say, yep, 3/4. Okay. That's a good size. I need to get another one this size for the Bridgeport. But I got excited while I was doing this, and I got a 20N. This thing is huge. It's also in disturbingly good condition. I'm amazed, to be honest with you. Usually there's always some sort of marks on the end here. I mean, this one's not in exceptional condition, but this is the condition I expected to get it in. So here's a normal chuck key, and here's the one for the 20N. Now, I don't know if this actually fits the 36. No. Okay. I'm actually planning on using this in the Bridgeport. Yeah, and I got this one in particular because I liked the knurling on here. Your hand can get a good grip on it. I don't know if I'd actually get one this size for, this goes up to, this is 3/8 to 1 inch. I don't know that I would ever actually get one that size for the Springfield, because I'd rather have Morse taper drill bits that will go into the back here, and that would have, it would just grip better onto there. It's less likely to spin. I mean, it really can't. You'd be more likely to break something in the setup or spin in the forge jar or something. So I don't know that I would get a size that big for this, but I do need to get a chuck that, I need something a little bit heavier duty than this little guy. But yeah, I got a really small chuck and a really big chuck. So those are the worst problems in the world. And besides that, I guess at the end of the video, I don't know where this is gonna fall into place, where I'll put it, but enjoy, guys. There you go. Big Jacob's chuck.